Hello and welcome to Shareware episode 53. I'm Brett and I am joined by...
Grayson.
And Josh.
This week's link to Blacklist, in which we play through the ending. Timestamps for each of the segments can be found in the show notes.
All two of them.
All two of them. We are embarking on a new
chapter of Shareware.
new chapter of Shareware.
We're changing things up this week. You know, we for a while there at the start we had the what we're playing and news format, and that was good for a little while. And we decided to move on to something that gave us a little more freedom. So then we had every host picking their own topic, which let us kind of venture out into some more niche subjects. Now we decided let's do something that lets us take a little bit deeper of a dive.
More freedom.
More freedom. And that freedom is one Uber topic. The first half of this episode is all going to be one topic. This week, selected by our very own Brett.
I just want to say I wasn't confident in this one. But I did pick it.
We're stuck with it now.
I wanted someone to pick a better one.
No, this is pretty decent. What is the topic,
fine.
Brett? Why don't you just tell us?
The topic is morality systems in games. What worked and what sucked?
Well, what did?
I mean, obviously, morality systems have been a huge part of games for the last...
10 years, basically.
More than that now.
I feel like
KOTOR came out in 2004.
Yeah, I feel like it came in waves. I feel like early 90s there was a kind of a burst of it, and
The Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, Infinity Engine stuff
There was also Arcanum, I think, although that was less morality choice and more between magic and technology.
Mm-hmm.
Those ARPGs, though, I don't feel like they really count because they're pulling from D&D source material where that was.
I mean, they count because that was the beginning of the development of it in games. In video games at least.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel... I feel like we only benefit from expanding the definition of morality systems as wide as is feasible, because otherwise we're just going to be excluding good executions of it that are worth learning from.
Yeah.
I really like the D&D system with lawful and good and evil.
The morality.
Lawful,
yeah.
Yeah.
That actually, that is Fable 2. No, Fable 2 was great.
I only played Fable 3, so Fable
Fable 3
a bad
fucking
taste
sucked dick. I fucking hated Fable 3. I only beat that one twice in a row. And even then, the second time I played through
really hated it, considering I've never beaten it.
I did, but the thing is, that's because I played through Fable 2 10, 12 times.
Grayson, you can't get him started on Fable 3. This will be the third time we've discussed Fable 3 on Paladin.
I get super pissed off about Fable 3 because it was a betrayal. It's terrible. It is fucking awful. But Fable 2 had the corrupt and pure system which interacted with the traditional good and evil one, which is something I really liked because my last character, the one that I decided to keep in my in my headcanon as the hero that led into Fable 3, was a corrupt good guy.
So I actually didn't realize there was this alternate system on the side. How does a corrupt good guy manifest in that game?
Basically like a pirate. A pirate who's just going around just
like a Jack Sparrow kind of pirate?
Yeah.
Of heart of gold but ruthless means?
Not really ruthless, he just doesn't really give a shit.
He'll cheat at poker, but he won't give it but he'll give the money to an orphanage.
Pretty much, yeah. He just kind of does whatever the fuck he wants, and it so happens that he's just kind of a good guy.
Okay.
And so that was really fun. He had a cool scar, he had an eye patch because he was a pirate.
Okay.
And that was just really fun because it was a little change, and I'm not going to say that it was oh my god, it was so amazing, man, you could be any character you wanted. But adding another axis to that thing was actually a great idea, and in actuality, you can look back on it, it's the only good idea Peter Molyneux has ever had.
I don't know.
Fun fact.
I feel like
No, Black and White 2 is good. I'm just talking shit.
Well, we should probably touch on Black and White 2 when you finish your thought, Josh.
Actually, yeah, good point.
No, you go ahead, because I'm interested to hear.
No, you go ahead.
Because Black and White...
Well, I want to talk about Black and White 2. I don't know anything about Black and White 2, so I'm just going to say Black and White 2 if you want.
Well, in Black and White 2, there were two separate morality scales, but they were they were on the same axis. So your creature could be good and evil, and you could be good or evil. And it affected the way things looked.
Okay, what is your creature? Because I know it's a god game, but I literally know very little about it.
The creature is like, it's just something you train.
It's like a secondary version of you that is able to interact directly with the world.
Without using up special spell slots.
So like you're the ethereal and the beast is the corporeal?
Yeah, it's like a demigod.
It's a manifestation of your quote-unquote will, but you also have to train it.
Okay, so what would be the consequences of like a good god and an evil demigod?
So, like...
Basically, you're really impatient and you smack it around all the time because it's being annoying and doesn't do anything right because it's a fucking piece of shit.
Okay.
The evil demigod will eat people, but your city will still be white and clean. And there'll be flowers blooming everywhere.
Okay, so from like the follower's perspective, is it just like, well, he's got good intentions. It doesn't always work out. Sometimes we get eaten, but he's a decent guy.
Our god's a really nice guy. He just has to take out some stress on this giant fluffy cat.
Or more like this giant scraggly cat that we need to go kill a bunch of enemy people.
Okay. Interesting.
It doesn't usually turn out that way, of course. Usually you're either evil or good.
Okay.
Yeah, and usually it's better to have your creature be good, because eating people's not the best.
Yeah, it ruins some of your stuff.
I'd rather train him to eat shit.
Oh yeah, you can train him to eat shit.
Yeah, you give him pets when he eats shit, and
he'll do it. And you don't have to take care of it if he does.
That is a good listener.
So that's why I became the shit-eating god.
You ever?
It's an interesting niche. I don't think the Greeks ever explored that avenue. So you're tapping into some fresh material.
A new member of the pantheon.
Did it ever bother you that the skyscraper was evil?
Theseus.
I mean, it makes sense. Skyscrapers are evil.
It was so space efficient, though. You could have like 800 villagers living in a max height skyscraper.
Yeah, but it's evil.
And then you throw a rock at it and it collapses.
That was fun, yeah. That's why being evil was cool. So it actually had like a physics system, if I remember right. So if you dropped a big ball on one corner of a house, it would only destroy that corner.
You know what's really weird about that? Peter Molyneux still missed his promises on that game.
Oh, of course
it turned out good.
Like, the thing is, Peter, I still... If Fable 3 had been a little bit better, if it had been, like, less garbage, I would still have a lot of respect for Peter Molyneux's way of doing things. Because he's basically like, if your dad goes like, we're going to go to Disneyland, then we're going to go to the moon, then we're going to go to the sun, and then we're going to go to our new house on Mars. And then all he does is take you to Disney World and you have a great time. That's still fun.
It's probably more fun than going to the sun. Like, I don't think that vacation pans out very well.
Like, the thing is, it was fun. The ride was always fun.
Yeah.
You know, when he was talking about Fable, he's like, you will be able to carve your name in a tree. And as the tree grows, your carving will grow. And it's like, that's amazing. I can't believe they can do that with Xbox technology.
But do you remember Goddess?
Yeah, that's... When he was getting funding directly from Microsoft, his promises were great. But then he was eventually like, I'm going to create an early access game in which you control something. And then he didn't deliver on that.
You watch something, control something.
Instead, he created a clicker with a crappy interface.
Pretty much.
And a weird PvP mode that came out a year later.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's the thing. It's like he either promises more than the world and gives you something pretty good, or he promises nothing and gives you less.
He takes.
He just comes to your house and punches you in the balls.
Yeah.
The guy who won that one, what game was that?
It was
Up and got us? Curiosity?
Curiosity.
He still hasn't received any money.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
You will be given $30.
Yeah, it's funny that the first things you two go to are those good evil binary systems, because for me personally, I find as I'm thinking about it, I don't actually think I've played a game that had a binary scale of good to evil in its morality system, and I enjoyed the morality system. Like, To me, I what I'm looking for in a morality system is really more of a consequences system. Like I don't, if the game is making an objective ruling on whether or not the thing I did was good or evil, then it's kind of missing the point of like exploring character motivations in my eyes.
I'm really glad you brought that up because I did want to talk about The Witcher 3, which I've been playing through.
Yeah, which at no point surfaces a meter that says like you're this dickish or friendly.
Like that's the thing is like. It's the ultimate evolution of a moral system in that they just cut out the moral part and left the consequences.
Yeah.
Like, I've made decisions in that game where I'm it's like 15 hours later and I'm like, wonder if I fucked that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I might have fucked that up. I'm not sure. Like, I did look into one and it was like, after Geralt fucked this up, I looked in like the glossary for the character.
Yeah.
After Geralt fucked this up, the creature then went on to cause a plague and killed a whole city.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh.
Well, and that's the thing is like 90% of the time you did fuck it up, but you chose who got fucked over the worst by it because that's the world of The Witcher. Somebody's always going to get the short end of the stick, and nobody fully deserves that end of the stick.
Or you say the wrong thing to Triss once and you can't have the sex scene.
Or you say...
You talk to me about that later, because I do not want to miss the sex scene with Triss.
Good thing you just interjected, because I almost brought something up that you haven't seen yet, or haven't had the opportunity to see.
I just met Triss. I basically just entered Novigrad.
Okay, cool, yeah. I almost slipped up, because I forgot you're still kind of in the midst of everything. But yeah, like another example for me of a game that does it almost masterfully is Fallout New Vegas. Like, Fallout New Vegas is all just about different groups of people with different priorities and you having to juggle those against your own.
Having the reputation system along with the karma, great move.
Well, yeah, I think it was kind of a half step, because for me, like, the karma system has always been something built into Fallout, but it's honestly always felt out of place to me, because if they had just had the reputation system and stripped the karma system out, I don't actually see how it would have negatively impacted Fallout New Vegas whatsoever.
Actually, it
Karma in 4?
Yeah,
I think so.
I don't ever see like the Pip-Boy like.
There was.
They might have. Okay.
I'm 90% sure.
Okay.
I don't remember much of Fallout 4 on account of it being shitty.
It definitely didn't really stick with
you gotta
me.
put some mods in there.
But like,
I don't think mods can save that one for me.
But honestly, like, I think that the presence of the good-bad karma system in Fallout New Vegas is actually kind of antithetical to the core premise of trying to balance these different factions with their own views. Like, and it just kind of highlights the handful of, like, fundamental issues. Obviously, Fallout New Vegas is still plagued with a lot of, like, technical things around the edges. Like, even now, the console versions have shitty load times, and there's tons of things you can glitch out and break. But in terms of, like, the core design philosophy, it's really fucking close to perfect in a lot of ways.
It's a fun game. It's interesting.
Yeah, but the Legion obviously was the most half-baked faction.
Yeah.
And like,
Caesar himself was cool.
Yeah, you can have a lot of, like, philosophically compelling conversations with him, but those don't manifest in how you interact with the rest of the faction.
Yeah, they're just like, Hail Kaiser or whatever.
And, like, people have dug up scraps and remnants, much in the way of KOTOR 2, of aspects in which the Legion was envisioned as a much more morally well-thought-out faction. So, I mean, if they had another year, who knows, maybe they could have, like, completely knocked it out of the park in every way possible. But there are those issues, and to me, that karma system just kind of accentuates those.
Yeah, you brought up KOTOR 2, and that's a game that I think is actually very interesting on this point. Mm-hmm. When I first played it, I was probably like 11, 12, something like that.
Yeah.
So anyone who played that when you were in high school, you're old. And so are we, actually. But when I first played it, I was always like, I'll play a good guy this time, I'll play a bad guy this time. Mm-hmm. But when I was replaying it, I think this was like 2 or 3 years ago, I found that if you actually, I grew up enough to kind of understand what, like, Kreia was actually getting at. I don't know if you guys played it.
Nope.
I have seen a handful of cutscenes from the game. Kreia is
She's the old lady
one. Is she blind or is she just...
She's blind. She can see through the force or whatever.
So, I do know what character you're about, and I think I know some of the conversations that you're getting at.
Yeah. So, like, she has this very particular philosophy that she's trying to guide you through. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, if you do follow that philosophy and you kind of understand what she's getting at, you can apply it in the game, and you will almost always just end up completely gray. Like it was really interesting to me, because I'm playing through this game, and, like, I'm making the correct choices.
Yeah.
Like, I had one... There's one point where... And this was, like, a gaming apotheosis moment for me. It was fucking amazing. Where you have an argument with someone from your past about... And you try to, like, justify why you did what you did. Mm-hmm. And I remembered just enough from my old playthroughs to where I was able to piece together an actual coherent argument, and I got her to back down. Which is something I never saw when I was a kid.
Oh.
So, like, whenever you apply this philosophy, you might actually get a good result, but you're going to end up right in the gray. Mm-hmm. And like that is something very interesting, because it was basically spitting in the face of the whole system.
Yeah. I definitely... It's one of those games I plan on getting to at some point. Honestly, it's a game that I'd like to game club at some point. I've seen just enough of it to want to play through it more, because I have issues with how they handle it immediately from having seen glimpses of those conversations. Like, it came across as something that, we were kind of talking about this with Ocarina of Time, like, I think maybe like a month ago, in regards to the tutorialization elements of, like, this was needed at the time, but now it's kind of vestigial. Like, going back now in the context of how games are today, it doesn't actually seem...
Are you talking about the 90-minute long progress section where it slowly, painstakingly guides you through every aspect of the game and it's really long and boring?
No, I'm more talking about one of the conversations in which she's explaining her philosophy to you, and just...
Is it the one where she's like, if you pick the good option, you give the guy money and then he gets mugged?
I think so.
Yeah.
Like, basically just, like, very heavy-handedly, painstakingly going into every possible permutation of moral decisions in life, and basically coming to the conclusion that, like, this really overbearing conclusion that, like, the neutral path is what will best serve you, and yada yada. Like, it basically felt like a very heavy-handed way of articulating the morally gray element of the game.
The thing is that I agree that particular implementation is something I look at and go, wow, that's awful. But it doesn't happen at the beginning of the game, and the game goes through a lot of pains to, like, kind of discuss it with you beforehand, and that is, like, the final resort. Like, look, this is here.
Yeah.
This is what we fucking mean, man.
That's why I'm interested to see the path leading up to that, because I am interested to see exactly how that comes about, and how the game justifies that. Having said that, I do think it, like I said, it makes sense within the context of when that game came out, and especially within the context of the Star Wars universe, because that has always been the weakest aspect of the Star Wars mythos, is this reliance on a very rigid good-evil dichotomy. And the most interesting Star Wars fiction to me is that which kind of rejects that notion.
Like Star Wars Republic Commando, a game which I really loved as a kid and played through in one sitting, and then I played it again and didn't really understand.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the interesting things about the Star Wars video games, with the exception of, like, the mainline stuff, like Force Unleashed and, like, the movie tie-in games. Yeah. Star Wars games have done a surprisingly good job of, like, injecting a little moral ambiguity into an otherwise very black and white world. Like, they did the same thing with, like, the TIE Fighter series of, like, exploring the inner workings of, like, middle management in the Empire, and, like, grunts in the Empire, and how they feel about this sort of thing, and why anyone would do the fucked up things that people in the Empire do. And it turns out there's a few decent reasons why somebody might find themselves in that position.
So, I want to make a comparison about one that worked and one that didn't work.
Okay.
Two open world games. Mm-hmm. One that worked, Red Dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
One that didn't work, Watch Dogs.
Yeah, Watch Dogs 1 was stupid because it never made any sense to be evil.
Well, and the other issue is, with both of them, it takes so long to affect your morality in either direction, like all the way to the other end, that it doesn't even feel like the system's there a lot of the time.
Yeah, I think that's probably... Well, did you have another thought to finish about that?
No, not yet.
Okay. I think that's probably one of the biggest ways in which morality systems fall short for me, is an improper granularity in how your actions have effects. This is the thing that plagues Mass Effect in my eyes, where on the surface, I actually think the Mass Effect morality system is kind of ingenious because it's just accepted right from the very premise that you are the good guy. But like you were kind of talking about in that other axis they implemented in Fable, what changes is how you get those results and how you treat the people around you to get those results. That should be actually like a really compelling avenue to explore. But instead, they choose really arbitrary things to leverage, like very specific decisions that like should impact the story in meaningful ways and don't. And then on the other side of the equation, things that like seem inconsequential but like end up being death by 10 cuts or whatever it is. Like it just doesn't feel like there's a logical connection between the specific choices you make and what kind of story outcomes you're locked out of, what kind of character interactions you're locked out of, and that kind of thing.
So, like, in Watch Dogs, you said it's terrible, it doesn't make sense to be evil. It's because they put wanted posters up, and anytime anybody sees you near one, they call the cops. And the same thing kind of happens in Red Dead, where if you're evil, you get chased down, right? But in Watch Dogs, it doesn't work because you can't just kill all the cops.
Okay.
In Red Dead, you can just get away by killing everybody.
Yeah.
If no one sees the crime, it didn't happen.
Yeah, the Wild West setting does kind of lend itself more towards that.
Or in Watch Dogs, like, your stars will just keep going up the longer you fight.
Yeah, Watch Dogs is such a bad game.
But at the same time, it's so good.
No.
The shooting feels so good, it's just you can never get to do it.
No.
Oh.
That whole game's bad.
How do you enjoy The Division? The shooting's basically the same.
I don't.
What?
I stopped playing that when I hit like level 15.
Oh, you poor man.
Like, you can look at my Google Plus posts from 2014.
It's Gun Diablo.
I was extremely excited. What do you mean? Oh, you're talking about Division, not Watch Dogs.
Watch Dogs, Gun Diablo. One word.
But like, I was super excited for Watch Dogs to the point where I said, "There is no way this game won't be good."
Yeah, I remember biting my tongue in that age.
And it was awful. And I played that game, and I beat that game, and the story was terrible, the gunplay was tepid, the driving was fucking god-awful.
Yeah.
And all the hacking minigames sucked, and like the only fun part was the hacking, and it was very binary what you could actually do with it.
Yeah. What are your like standout horrible morality systems in games? Like laughably bad. Like for me, the first thing that comes to mind, despite how much I actually really like this series for a lot of different reasons outside of the morality system, Infamous has always been a fucking joke. And it's sad that the morality system is such like a cornerstone of the series. Like it's always been something that has been so intrinsic to the premise of, are you going to be the guy with the red lightning or the blue lightning?
Yeah.
Like every aspect of the marketing and like the elevator pitch is intrinsically tied to that. So it's not even something that they can abandon at this point without doing another reboot.
It was always so stupid.
It's so preposterously shallow. Like it's just so ridiculous to the extent that it's like, okay, everybody is freezing to death. You have two options. You can set yourself on fire to save everyone around you, or you can burn everyone else just for your own amusement and go to a warm beach.
Yeah, like that's the thing, you know. At this point, the cliche thing to say is like, dude, you see an orphanage burning, do you save everyone, or do you fucking explode it, bro? The thing is, though, is that Infamous is the reason that cliche exists.
Yeah.
And it's not that off point.
No. They're like literally the first decision in the first game, like it's literally, I would say, 10 or 15 minutes into pressing start, which pressing start in Infamous was an awesome moment.
That was awesome. Man.
This less so. There is plenty of food that has been airdropped into this city that is on lockdown because of some kind of terrorist attack, presumably. And everybody's in dire straits, everybody needs it just as much as you, but you have lightning superpowers. So, I mean, you could share with everybody and have plenty of food for yourself, while not prohibiting anyone else from living, or you could just kill them all so you have so much food, there's literally no way you could eat all the food before it spoils.
So,
and that is one of the better choices in the game. Like, it's one of the more sensible ones.
the nice thing about Infamous is you can, like, flip-flop between them really easily.
Well, not really easily.
Like,
it takes
one
2 hours
major
of grinding.
story decision will flip you.
Well,
I don't remember that.
The problem is that, well, I don't know.
Your
the thing
upgrades
to
are tied to it.
Yeah, the thing to account for, is the powers are tied into it. So you can flip-flop between good and evil very easily and, like, change what ending you want very easily based on that. You can't have the most powerful upgrades in the game doing that because it will take most of the game to reach level 3 evil at max or level 3 good at max, which is where you start getting like really crazy powers that are very useful in combat.
You know what other game has a terrible system? Edgy Infamous. Prototype.
Prototype didn't have a morality
Really?
system, I'm pretty sure.
I was playing Prototype 2 and they were like
Prototype 2 might have it.
encouraging me to make good and bad decisions.
Like, Prototype 1, you were just a fucking monster.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I can't even imagine how you would implement morality.
Do you guys care about spoilers for Prototype?
No!
If there is one thing I do not care about, it is spoilers for Prototype.
This actually has one of the neater twists I've seen in a game.
Okay, lay it on me.
Basically, you spend the whole game as this fucking monster named Alex Mercer.
Mm-hmm.
You're fucking devouring people, you're tearing people apart, etc., etc.
But he doesn't hate computers.
What?
That was one of the dumbest things in Prototype 2. I forget what the protagonist is, but early on there's a sequence where you have to like hack a computer or something, and he just shouts out, "I fucking hate computers!" and slaps
Oh,
them.
yeah.
He might not have said fucking, but...
I played
hope
that
he did.
game for like an hour. And
Me
then
too,
stopped.
on Steam at like 3 a.m. on a Sunday.
Yeah, carry
That's-
on.
that's the time
Alex
to play it.
Mercer, he's an asshole.
You're playing as him, he's a huge asshole, like, you just fucking devour people, and the twist is that the actual human Alex Mercer was worse. Like, he's the one who released the whole virus in the first place. So, like, the whole time you're like, oh man, I need to get my humanity back, I gotta be a good person again. Like, that's how it kind of ends up going, and then he goes, oh, actually, the human was worse. Fuck it, let's kill everyone.
That's actually... You're right, that's kind of endearing, like...
It was a solid
that.
twist.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't play Prototype to get to it.
Honestly, it's a fun game. I really enjoyed it.
Like,
I beat it twice.
I can't even imagine a time in my life where I would have so few good games to play that I would want to play Prototype, which isn't to say that Prototype is a bad game. It's just that there are so many other games in that exact same archetype that do it better. I mean, it literally came out within a month of Infamous. It was
Prototype's way more fun to move around in than Infamous.
I firmly disagree.
Have you played it?
Yeah, I've played it at Darian's house.
But did you play it with my perspective?
I understand there's kind of a presentational element to Prototype that maybe, depending on your point of view, you might think is a little more interesting just because it's so like lavishly destructive and grotesque.
Yeah, that's cool.
That doesn't really do it for me personally, but just the tactile feel of platforming and like rail grinding and like the grapple move you get in Infamous and that kind of thing, like especially late game, they introduce like a plethora of verticality options to Infamous that I liked a lot. So yeah, Prototype wouldn't really do it for me personally.
I've got a controversial one.
Oh.
Spec Ops: The Line.
Yeah, that was terrible.
I
That was
mean,
just bad.
yeah.
As far as like your decisions not having a meter, it worked out pretty well.
It's more of a morality lecture than a morality system.
Yeah, it's just like, I mean, I think we've talked
I
about
suppose
this
you
before.
really don't get a
Probably.
choice
Yeah.
if you want to finish
I
the
think
game.
we might have talked about it last week.
It's like
You definitely did bring it up, but I don't know how deep into the morality system you got.
I think I was going to say the same thing I was going to say here.
You know what you did is it was actually in the it was in the pre-show outtakes.
oh,
So I don't know if you implemented it.
commit war crimes to survive and
I
win.
have.
Oops, they turned out to be civilians.
Yeah, that was so just
That bait and
Just-
switch was
just
such a
in-
jerk move.
just so intuitively off-putting because it was so fucking obvious what was about to happen, and I was actively trying to not burn everybody alive, and the game just doesn't allow for it.
Like, you can't fight your way through it normally. Like, I think this exact topic came up before, too, actually.
Yeah.
Where we were talking about the phosphorus section. You should be able to fight your way through it without using that. It should be insanely hard. Mm-hmm. It should be the hardest thing in the game, bar none.
Yeah.
But you should be able to do it.
Yeah, that to me is the ultimate revision of Spec Ops The Line. Like, if they painstakingly recreated that game so that at every possible turn, there was always a way to handle the situation, like by the book, in a way that isn't like completely ruining the lives of civilians and like innocent militia and that kind of thing. But it is always so contrived and so difficult in a realistic way that 90% of the player base will just kill everyone.
Yeah.
Then and only then will I respect Spec Ops The Line's message.
Like, I saw so many people sucking that game off. And it pissed me off so much that I didn't even post in the thread where they liked it.
I think a lot of that is due, and this is still something that, setting aside all of my grievances with Spec Ops The Line, I still respect, which is that it was doing something very different than all of its competitors. If you didn't go in expecting any of it, I think there's an argument to be made for just being caught off guard. I'm not saying it works for everyone, but I'm saying that plays into the passion, like being swept off your feet by it. Like, if you were inclined to have that message not fall on deaf ears in the first place, then you will be extremely fervent about it because you weren't expecting it.
That makes sense.
But fuck that game.
Yeah, that's kind of where I end up.
I don't know. I must really like cover shooters because I genuinely thought it was a fun game.
It was fun, but it was kind of like Blacklist fun for me, where it was just like, this is entertaining in the minute to minute, but I'm never coming back, really.
This is weird to hear now. Like, I wasn't expecting this at all, because I actually really don't enjoy the playing of Spec Ops The Line.
Oh.
Like, the one thing that I thought was novel was the glass shooting, like to bring sand down on people. Like, that was an interesting twist on, like, the explosive barrel. Literally every other part of that game I found extremely tedious. The entire, like, from the beginning. It wasn't like, 3 hours in, it's starting to wear thin. Like, I really don't like the gun feel of that game. I don't like the way the movement feels. It's, like, I'm not really a Gears of War guy, and it feels like it draws a lot from that in terms of, like, the kind of chunky, laborious movement. It was intuitively a bad experience for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was fine to play.
Did you play on PC?
Yes.
So that might have contributed. I was playing on PS3.
Okay, yeah. I think having the precision aiming is a big part of why I didn't hate how that game played.
Because that game has a very low time to kill for you and for enemies. So, like, getting a headshot instantaneously is, like, kind of key to making encounters not be a fucking drag.
Yeah.
And that's not to say... Like, I like console shooters. I didn't even get into PC shooters until, like, the last 4 years or something like that. So... That's not like, playing it with a controller is garbage as a blanket statement. I don't think that game works well with a controller.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, Spec Ops had interesting ideas, but the execution was so flawed.
Yeah, I appreciate its ambition from, like, a sterile distance.
Yeah, like, if I'm looking... The thing is, I'm looking back on it after, like, 6 years, and I'm still kind of pissed off.
Like, I mean, I could defend it much better if they didn't have the stop playing message.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like, that is the one. Like, that's the thing. You know, like, that was my biggest argument. It was like, if you're gonna fucking talk shit like this to me after I have purchased your game and tell me to stop playing without giving me a story option to leave, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Straight up.
That felt like... just really lazy backpedaling on the part of the developers.
Well, the thing is, it's not lazy backpedaling because they had the option, and the problem is, focus groups kept picking that option because of course you would pick the fucking option to leave after a certain point, and so they couldn't get their point across because everyone was a human fucking being.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's backpedaling of a different sort. Like, they realized that their message wasn't working, so they enforced it.
Yeah.
And, like, it's disappointing in a lot of ways because it could have been one of those things that I look back on as, like, a seminal moment in first-person shooters, but they just... butchered the execution so badly to me.
It is a game that lends itself well to session-based play, though, because as you go, that flag gets more torn up.
Yeah, the start menu is actually, that is a really nice detail, and I played that game in 2 sittings, so I didn't even pick up on it. It's something I found out about in YouTube videos.
I didn't know that until you guys just brought it up.
Yeah, the menu like deteriorates and gets much more like discordant musically as the game progresses. It's like
that's kind of cool actually.
There is a weird amount of attention to detail in that game. Like they do like a very kind of like Fight Club-esque sort of thing where like if you play through it a second time, there's lots of things. I'm merely talking about the.
No, I just remembered the scene where it reveals what was happening with those 2 corpses, and then like. It's just you basically staring at them and going, and then screaming, "We have to choose!"
Yeah.
And their squad mates are just like...
And your radio has been broken the whole time and they've been watching you?
Yeah. But, like, there's a lot of stuff in there that, like, playing through the second time, you can point and look and, like, oh, this made sense in the first playthrough and also makes sense in a completely different context in the second playthrough.
Like, you could see the cracks?
Yeah. Like, I don't think that was a game... Like, I don't think that was anything less than a labor of love. It didn't pan out for me.
It was a stillbirth.
What about Red Faction Guerrillas?
Does that have one?
If you support the rebels, you get more rebel help. If you kill them, they stop bringing you cars.
Right, yeah, it's just like, do you want to play along with the story as it exists, or do you want to make it make less sense?
Oh, and have people call you on the radio and say you're a dick.
Oh, really? I didn't know about that.
I mean, it's like, hey, stop bullying the civilians. That's basically all it is.
I really liked walking up to people and just hitting them in the face with the sledgehammer.
Oh, so satisfying.
It really was.
As somebody who didn't get a ton out of the kind of physics sandbox element of Guerrilla, is there any reason for me to go back and play that?
Not at all, not even remotely.
Okay.
I thought the cover gunplay was really good.
I never used that because I was all about the physics.
I've played it both ways, and it works both ways.
Really?
I love hearing people that are passionate about Red Faction Guerrilla talk about Red Faction Guerrilla, but every time I play it, it just does not click with me, and it's a little saddening.
The thing, like Witcher 3 does a great job of making interiors feel like separate rooms almost, like with the lighting and all that. I feel like Red Faction Guerrilla's biggest failing is that it does not manage to do the same thing. Like when you're inside a building,
you still feel like you're outside, but you're between like 2 rocks.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't have a sense of place in every building, which makes it...
The scale isn't there.
Yeah, you feel like you're in kind of a toy house when you're inside one of them, and then you break it.
Yeah, that's a good observation. That makes a lot of sense, because they probably had so much horsepower devoted to the crumbling of walls and that kind of thing that they couldn't afford to put the detail into interiors. Which, that's the right call to make if it had to come down between those two things. Like, obviously lean into what your game has going for it in the first place.
But it does make it less interesting. Yeah. Like, imagine the Uncharted 2 sequence where like the hotel is being destroyed and then you fall down into the next building. Imagine that, but they just didn't have all the shit breaking with like the physics objects
crumbling and stuff like that.
Like, what if it literally was just like slowly tipping and then you just kind of weirdly physics hop to the next one in a way that you didn't feel was entirely intentional? Like, that's kind of Red Faction Guerrilla, which I still thought was really fun because
part
I
of
love
my
physics.
fascination was when I got it, it was like I had a much smaller income, so it's like that was my game for the month.
Yeah.
And I spent 20 hours with the demo.
I also did. That demo, I fucked with that shit
Driving
so much.
semis into buildings, all kinds of things. So when I was able to access the whole world, it was like, whoa.
Yeah, like when you finally get to like the final city, and it's full of all those huge-ass buildings and bridges and shit. Oh my god, like that huge bridge in the final one where you go, oh boy.
This is making me sweat. And then they had destruction challenges, which were nice.
Those were fun. I didn't like it as much as the typical stuff.
So they've released a Steam update that includes the reconstruction gun in the main game, and it fixes the Games for Windows Live issue where the sun was on both sides of the map, and it would shine through like mountains and stuff.
Okay,
so
well, that's a good thing to fix.
It's been fixed.
I only ever played it on PS3 really, but I might go back play some Red Faction Guerrilla because my computer is running out of games that I can stream.
Red Faction.
I'm gonna do it.
You talking about all of this, the kind of systemic design that is Guerrilla, it reminded me of one detail that I really like, or I guess design philosophy that I really like, and I want to see more of in morality systems, which is morality systems baked into the fundamental gameplay systems as opposed to being like bespoke A and B options. Like one game that I think handles morality in a really interesting way is Papers, Please. Because at no point in Papers, Please are you ever not outside of the menus. You're always in the like very base level control scheme of like, here's your desk, here are your tools for verifying whether or not somebody is allowed to come into the country, and here's the button to let them into the country. That is the whole system. There's not like a dialogue tree that pops up or anything. And the game puts you in some really dark situations where you're making judgment calls that could affect not just the lives of those that are very close to you and yourself, but potentially the lives of thousands that live in your country. And it's all handled merely through the way you handle the most banal encounters of just like, oh, hey, the date's wrong on your birth certificate, like you have to go get that checked out. Like, I think that's a really smart way of just making the decisions feel a lot more tangible as opposed to having them in that canned presentation.
Like, I'm forgetting the actual game I'm thinking of, but I do really love that philosophy as well, where you just... It doesn't judge you on your morality until it's like, you've been doing this the whole fucking time, dude. Like, this is clearly a part of how you are just playing. So we're going to judge you on that. Like,
yeah, the plain presentation of it almost ironically makes it like that much more impactful, because you look at it, you're presented with a situation like, oh, there's a person that you know to be a terrorist, but then it brings into the question of like, well, do I think the terrorists have a point? Do I think that my government is dubious in its ability to like protect the common man? Or like, are they offering me something that could like save the lives of my starving daughter and father and that kind of thing?
My daughter was sick and they offered me 1,000 credits or whatever, and I was like, well, I'll take it. And then I thought about betraying them, and I was like, no, they'll probably kill my family.
Yeah, you're all these things are running through your head of all the outcomes that could take place depending on whether or not you help this person or condemn them. And at no point is this all conveyed to you through some like heavy-handed BioWare-esque conversation where they're laying out all the consequences for choice A and B. It's literally just, do you choose to go through the process of registering them for entry into your country or not?
yeah, like, I always like that kind of stuff, because it's a good way of just judging who you are as a person by just putting something in front of you and going, how do you handle it? Like, that's 100% my shit.
Because that's, I mean, realistically for most people, that's how morality plays out in day-to-day life. Like, morality isn't these, like, unless you're, like, the fucking president, in most cases, you're not presented with an A or B option.
Saints Row 4.
Yeah. But, unless you're, like, signing bills in the real world, you're not given, like, A or B options that are gonna immediately impact thousands of people. It's 100 little things that you do over the course of the day, whether it's like holding a door open for somebody or like lending somebody on the street $1 because they're out of change and that kind of thing. Like, it's just all these little minuscule things that total up and determine what kind of person you are.
Yeah, like, nobody, I would say 5 to 7% of humanity goes through their day going like, I am an evil piece of shit. But if you looked at all the people that could basically be like, dude, you're evil as fuck, probably more like 30 or 40%.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Donald Trump goes like, I'm such a fucking dumb bitch. I'm so fucking stupid. I don't give a shit about anything. I think he's like, I want to do what I can for this country, but all these people are getting in the way.
Yeah.
Basically Sam Fisher from Blacklist.
Yeah, that's what it all really, at the end of the day, has to boil down to for me. And like, I know it's a cliche, but it's because it's fucking right. Every villain should think that they are the protagonist.
Yeah.
And that applies to the player too. Like, if the player is doing something that some other person who played the game thinks is a completely ridiculous option and they should feel ashamed for, that player shouldn't be doing it because they're like, yeah, I want the red lightning. Like, it's really cool.
Yeah.
I want to sound like Darth Vader and have a black cape. It should be because they thought that was the right call.
Yeah. Like in The Witcher 3.
Yeah.
Basically, play The Witcher 3. I was wrong about it. It's good.
But it'll make you feel like shit, no matter what you choose.
That's the real world, bitch.
Yeah.
Although there probably is a right way to choose, it just doesn't seem like it at the time.
That's the real world as well.
Yeah, true. One thing I do really like about The Witcher, though, is that in spite of how dark it is at so many moments, there really is like a lot of heartwarming character interaction that takes place in those games. Like, it doesn't really beat you over the head with like, oh, this is a grim, gray world. Like,
yeah.
There's still times, there's like good
Like,
times
there's a lot
to
of
look back
humor
on.
in it.
Yeah, there's levity. Like, they show you just enough light, like, parting between the clouds so that when it starts raining again, you got something to remember and something to strive for again.
I think one of my favorite moments in the game so far was when Geralt was like walking through the rain for probably like 2 or 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I stopped to look at something and Geralt's just like, a storm. I was like, uh-huh.
Good observation,
I
Mr.
see.
Detective.
Did you use your Witcher senses to get that?
Yeah, did you press middle mouse button before you...
Oh, I'm playing with controller.
Oh.
Like, I do not like playing The Witcher with a mouse and keyboard. It feels like it just makes it more clear that I'm not playing it in 60 FPS.
Oh.
Whereas if I'm playing it on a controller, I can just be like, this is probably around what the PS4 version looks like, and it probably runs about the same.
Mm.
But
Actually, oh, never mind. I don't want to spoil your
yeah,
thing.
don't. Because I've just finally managed to wrap my head around this game not running well or looking good.
Well, any other thoughts on morality systems, guys?
Well, I think that this way of doing the topic has been a huge success, and we will be continuing it for a very long time.
So, speaking of poorly done morality systems, we're going to get to our Splinter Cell Blacklist game club.
Yeah, left mouse button continues to the next topic. Right mouse button kills us all before we can record the topic.
Exercise for freedom.
We're going to have a chat about that.
Yeah.
I don't think Josh even knows what the fifth freedom is.
I don't remember.
We are here with the final episode of our Splinter Cell Blacklist Game Club, in which we played through the ending.
Which was not a lot this time. I think I got through it in about an hour.
I'm not Speedy Brett, so it probably took me more like 90 minutes. But yeah, this was on the shorter side. Although there was was a decent amount of globe trotting. We had some scene shifts
Yep.
here and there. So it
one
didn't feel
problem
super-
that Grayson and I both had is that you can never replay the American Fuel mission.
What? Oh, yeah, you don't return to the SMI.
What?
You can never replay American Fuel.
I'm confused.
Yeah, the mission that we start off with where you get hacked, you can never replay that. So, like, what I've been doing is I've been going through, I looked at the walkthrough and saw what mission was next.
Yeah.
Because that's how you kind of pick the missions. You can't do that with American Fuel. It's a one-time only thing. You can never go back to it because unless you like delete your save data from the file folder.
Does that extend into the actual like proper American Fuel encounter where you're fighting with firefighters and stuff?
No, that's not the actual. I'm talking about the mission where
Plane
you're in
crash.
Paladin, the
Yeah.
plane crash. That's called American Fuel.
That is.
Oh, what do they call
terrible
the
mission.
part where you're actually addressing American Fuel?
That's the LNG terminal. But they call it American Fuel because it's meant to be like a trick. Like you're supposed to go like, all right, we're gonna infiltrate this tanker.
Okay.
And then it tricks you with that, and then you go into the Paladin mission. That's called American Fuel.
Okay.
So you can never do that. So I had to watch some YouTube Let's Player go through it and go like, bro, this game is so fucking amazing. I did not expect any of this shit.
That's why I always put no commentary at the end of any Let's Play search I'm doing.
Yeah.
Which doesn't happen very often because I don't watch that many. But I did actually. Oh, well, we'll get to it, but I had to watch some video footage of the game for other reasons a little bit later.
I think I know what part you're talking about because it was a big sticking point my first playthrough.
Okay, maybe this is a recurring problem. So we start with this, once again, kind of format bending sequence, which, like, I liked it at first, where you think you're going into American Fuel, and like you said, suddenly the hack has manifested, I guess, and the plane's going down.
And Grimm is shooting Charlie dirty looks.
Yeah, for reasons that have become more clear in a little bit. The one thing that immediately stood out to me, though, is why the fuck are they still using the default walk animation that you have when you're in between missions?
Yeah,
where
it's just like, well, gotta go solve this chore.
Yeah, there's a 5-minute clock. Everything is blowing the fuck up. Everybody's screaming, and he's just like casually sauntering from one end of the plane to the other. And even when you sprint, he's just kind of got like a casual jog. Like,
Yeah.
Nice, solid workout clip.
Also, who designed this plane where the SMI is like wired into the actual functions of the plane?
Yeah, like I completely agree.
There should definitely be like a
The
comment
US
between
government?
those.
The only thing I'll say is
No, there is, but Charlie disabled them. Like, because he wanted more performance. That's literally what he says.
I gotta overclock my plane, so I'm gonna turn. It doesn't make sense that the systems are capable of interacting in the, like, why is there a way to create a bridge between the thing you use to Skype people, like the thing you use to Skype the president, and the thing you use to regulate the fuel intake of the plane?
Also, I'm pretty sure all
Because
like
Charlie sucks.
planes have manual backups for these things.
Yeah.
To prevent this from happening.
Yeah.
Not Paladin.
Paladin's too good for that. But yeah, my only counterpoint is that, Grayson, if we are to collect every single one of the plot incongruities in this whole section, then the game club is going to take 3 hours, because there's so much fucking stupid stuff that happens in this part of the game.
It's kind of amazing because, like, in the first episode, things are getting set up. Everything's cool. Second episode, things kind of start falling apart, but you can...
It's salvageable.
They're salvageable. You have hope that something... Maybe they'll pull it together. And this last one is just, like, a gif of a dumpster fire.
Yeah,
They don't even let you stealth it.
they don't.
Well, if you're talking about the LNG terminal, there actually is a way. And I did it.
Oh, you ghost killed all those people?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I didn't kill them, I stunned them because the stun gun is super overpowered.
I haven't used the stun
I've been
gun
using
since-
crossbow.
I haven't used it since the time we were forced to.
The stun
I
gun?
really forgot about it, actually.
Helmeted enemies don't even matter because if you get a body shot on them, they'll immediately get knocked out.
Oh, wow. That's
Like,
pretty cool.
they will knock out everything except the heavy guys.
Mm-hmm.
And you get like 12 shots with it, even on realistic.
Yeah. But yeah, this is like, it's kind of like coming to its most explosive point of this game not knowing if it wants to be MGS2 or Uncharted 2. Greaper, I think that's how you pronounce this. Greapper.
Graper.
But wouldn't the E be later? I don't know.
No, it is Creeper.
Okay, they kind of touch on this. I think Blacklist is a solid entry to the series, and I personally love it, but the game has so many flaws. It seems Blacklist has an identity crisis. It wants to be an action cover shooter, but then it keeps on remembering itself, I think you meant reminding itself, that it's a Splinter Cell game. They undersold due to trying to appeal to a market that wasn't interested in this game in the first place and alienating their core audience in the process. Yeah, like that's what this all feels like at this point. Is just like we're amping up the action more and more and more, and like not just in the mechanics but the story elements too. Just like throwing in all of these, like what started as intrigue has now turned into like all these elements that could be argued are treason in a lot of ways.
Yeah, well, I think like directly disobeying the president.
On a fucking hunch, which he criticized other people on his team for doing earlier in the game.
No, but the whole arc, bro, is that he learns that sometimes you just gotta go with your gut when it comes to using everything the government has.
Like, that would actually be an interesting character arc if they did anything to actually, like, tangibly cement that as a change that happens in Sam. But, like, looking at Sam at the end of this game compared to the beginning, like, the only difference is now he has somebody to punch.
Yeah, like... And the thing is, during this whole bit with Charlie and Grim, Grim is basically the only person keeping this mission on point. Because Charlie... You know, Charlie is actually very understandable in this case, where he wants to own up to what he did because he did fuck up. Grim, I do think Grim is correct in telling him to just not fucking tell Sam because
Sam will just murder him and it'll be over.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, like, that can't happen. But the thing is, why is that Grim? You know, like, I want my main character to be that sensible, to be making, like, that's actually a hard call to make.
Yeah.
Not all this bullshit Sam's doing where he's like, "Are we go for Operation Fuckfist?"
Like, go for Denver.
Yeah, go for Denver.
That was
cool, actually.
So
I didn't like that.
Yeah, I mean, do we want to just skip ahead past all of the, like, burning buildings?
Let's just quick go through that. I hated the part where you had to save the firefighters. It was the worst.
Well, I mean, I think we can just kind of skip around to various places as they come up, because it's such a short segment.
Yeah, I mean...
Like, I'm sure we'll come to something in the LNG terminal that was like, oh boy. But right now, I'm just kind of focused on the story stuff.
Most of the oh boy, is in the story stuff. Like, for me, it's like, Sam is portrayed as the guy who's making the tough calls, and the guy who is... He's the master of machinations. Like, he's putting everyone in their precise roles. He's recruited the specific team each that does their own specific jobs.
Yeah, but, like, he's recruited this team, and then he goes like, "Why are you on this team?"
Yeah.
It's fuck off.
And then they decide, well, the pilot's refusing to fly to Denver, so we're gonna make the guy you've been torturing okay do it.
Yeah. Why the fuck does he do that? Because the whole time he is barely able to restrain himself from beating the shit out of Coben, and now he's just like, well, I really want to disobey the president, so I'm going to let the guy who abducted my daughter fly us to Denver.
Also, Briggs, you don't have what it takes to be in a military operation. I think I'm going to let the weird drug dealer / drug, like, trafficker guy take the reins on this one.
Yeah, he questions Briggs' competency at every turn, and Briggs is probably the most put together character in the whole cast, outside of Charlie, who has one blemish moment.
Yeah, like, I was gonna say and Grim, but
Grim does the drug. See, like, so I had this argument in mind as I was kind of thinking about the end of this game, and in retrospect, the entirety of the game, thinking like, it's funny that Sam is packaged as this like tactician and delegator and judgment caller, when in actuality he is like this brute impulse like dumbass, and everybody around him is making all the right calls. The one thing that makes that fall apart is when Grim uses the drone to blow things up. So that is the flaw in that perspective. But for the most part, everyone around Sam is micromanaging his hissy fits and like saying what he or doing what he says just enough so that he doesn't fire them.
Which I will say, probably accurate to how the actual military works, but I don't think that's what this game's going for at all.
And I also don't think they leverage that mismatch between how they like sell Sam and how Sam actually is if you look at his actions and words.
Yeah, like Sam is just a fucking tantrum fucker baby boy who doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
So
Yeah.
the other thing Conviction has over Blacklist is Sam's sweater in Conviction is like the best article of clothing I've ever seen in a game.
It does look cozy.
It makes me super jealous.
I kind of want to play Conviction again because that game was more put together than this one.
It also like rewarded shooting out the lights way more.
I mean, I've been doing a lot of light shooting.
Well, the one thing
this.
the one
It's been
thing I'm
very
hearing
helpful.
about Conviction though, compared to this, is that apparently it handles the like true stealth option worse in some ways.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that is true.
It's definitely more of a I'm gonna kill everyone game.
yeah. Like AQ.
Wait, but that's fine though because the game is kind of reinforcing that. Like it was meant to be a departure from Splinter Cell, the original series, which I can respect a lot more. Like Reaper said, Blacklist is like half fucking ooh shoot man, I gotta do America, oh and half like I have to be
The Splinter Cell.
Yeah.
I have to be the leopard upon the plateau. Or whatever the fuck. I don't know, man.
Yeah, that kind of bucking of tradition, Splinter Cell tradition in Conviction didn't seem to work out for everyone. Like, AQ90 on Reddit says this, and this is a sentiment I saw a lot of. As compared to Conviction, Blacklist succeeds in letting you go through the game without killing anyone as Sam. But, you know, at the expense of that, there's the new voice actor, which you guys both said you didn't like as much, and
It's
the new
David
look.
Hayter.
I think you're actually right.
Yeah, the new look where he's like you said, looks younger than himself, which is just fucking weird. And all the action stuff that they ham-fistedly shoved in. It's interesting to me that they point out specifically that Sam is the one player character that doesn't have to kill anyone. That almost seems like it's kind of touching on what could have been the key to salvaging this game. Is like, give me sequences where I'm playing as Briggs and we're like playing with the bombast, and then give me sequences where I'm playing as Sam and it's enforcing these stealth regulations and asking you to play through that way.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the thing is, you know, I've played every Splinter Cell to some extent. I'm sure that everyone who has listened to me on this show has come to the conclusion I'm not much of an actual stealth guy. Like, and honestly, I really did enjoy Conviction because it did just have a lot more like, hey, you want to just fucking kill someone, go for it. You know, like, and I like that. My biggest problem with Blacklist is that it's just stupid, though. Like, Conviction gave you enough, like, justification for Sam going off the rails. You know, like, it was actually a pretty demonstrable arc. Like, in the first Splinter Cell, I believe he's fairly new, at least to, you know, third echelon and the whole way of thinking. And then he just kind of, you know, he gets more and more advanced. A double agent hits, and he starts having a crisis of conscience between, like, you know, am I a fucked up dude, or am I a military man? And then Conviction is kind of like that coming to a fore. Like, it's so much easier to be the guy who just fucking kills people. Like, there is a thematic kind of escalation through the games. And then Blacklist is just like, no, I'm a military guy, actually.
Yeah, like, well, they could have potentially found a way to rationalize that, but only in a situation in which Sam isn't wearing all these different hats within one game.
Yeah, he should not be the leader of this organization. He's never been the fucking leader of any organization.
Yeah, that's the thing. Third echelon was like huge. It had offices.
Yeah.
And fourth echelon is just like 4 guys in a plane.
It's stupid.
Yeah, it's like this weird fringe
Like
faction.
Grim was just your handler in the earlier games. She was not like the head of anything.
That's my new Splinter Cell knockoff series, Fringe Faction.
Matter Commission.
I guess it really is just them trying to compromise action sequences for mass appeal with stealth sequences for, like, harkening back to the good old days for the people that still care about the Splinter Cell name that were burned by Conviction. And it just doesn't handle either one as well as it needs to appeal to that audience.
I do find myself, now that I'm older and a bit more patient, I do find myself seriously considering going back to the old Splinter Cell games, playing through them.
So, Go for Denver.
Yeah, that was an amazing scene. All of this other bullshit aside, like that is what they should have been drilling down into is these like fun character moments between like Charlie and Grimm and Briggs and Sam, and having them do those twists on the formula, like making you think that you're pressing the button to lock in the mission, but actually you're like getting the confirmation of everyone in the crew.
And that was super cool.
There's a big grin on my face as I was clicking go for Denver over and over again.
Like, that was neat.
Yeah, and they get close to doing that again with the ending of exercising the fifth freedom again. Like, I like the premise of what they're doing, like twisting on what you were originally interpreting exercising the fifth freedom as, which is just killing a motherfucker. But the rationale for why Sam ends up doing that is kind of muddy.
Oh, I'm talking about the Briggs fifth freedom.
That part was cool.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like they established that as the format for the fifth freedom, and then when you end up doing it as Sam, you think you're just going to stab him again. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
But, like, okay, so the options presented to Sam were kill me and start an all-out war with 12 countries, or keep me alive. And he says...
He'll spill all the secrets of your country.
If he's put on trial.
Yeah, so...
He just Guantanamos him. Doesn't tell anyone.
Yeah. Oh, so is the idea that he would just start shouting out government secrets in a publicly televised trial? Okay, so that's what I wasn't really understanding. Okay. So I guess that makes a little bit more sense. So he's keeping him away from the public eye. But like, what government secrets did he end up getting? Because they stopped the Secretary of Defense from. I
think there's a bunch of other ones that he actually did get though.
Like I think just
in the
process.
Okay. Is that?
I don't think he was going for the launch codes. I think he just wanted to do WikiLeaks 2, Big Red 1.
Nice callback.
Thanks. I like that joke a lot.
It's the electric boogaloo of video games. It sucks because I do see all these tiny little moments that like bring a grin to my face, and then they are sandwiched between stuff that I'm almost actually putting my forehead into my palm, because it's like, okay, really, you're forcing me to handle this encounter in this way, or you're making me do this dumb thing, or I'm watching Sam do this idiotic thing. Like when he pulls up the car to stop the engineer leader escaping in the terminal at the end, he doesn't even bother to check if the driver's still alive. That guy could just pop out with an assault rifle and pop him in the back of the head while he's interrogating him.
And if this was a Metal Gear game, he would have. And he would have had his finger outside of the trigger guard while doing it.
If this was a remotely, like, realistic game, in any sense, that would have happened. And, like, I don't know, maybe this is just a misconception, but, like, I've always seen Splinter Cell as something that cares about the details like that.
Yes.
And it just doesn't feel like they do in this case.
This game could have just been called, like, Jim Maverick, Thunderdome, or some shit. And it would have been basically the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is not Sam Fisher.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Yeah, like...
Sam Fisher is boring in how thorough he is.
They either needed to do an evolution of the conviction arc of him being driving down into this renegade approach, where you basically just enforce the Panther play style as this is how the game is meant to be played. You are ruthless, you are efficient, you are sneaky, but you're going to handle it in a way that's going to please nobody but yourself. Or if they wanted to do this kind of, I don't know, I want to characterize it as a redemption arc, but they don't even flesh it out in a introspective enough way for me to put such a flowery word on it. It's really just him flipping to Goody Goody Two Shoes version, ostensibly. If they wanted to do that, then they needed to play up the leadership position of Sam more and let me do shit where I'm actually doing the delegating of Sam. Have a mission set up where I'm saying Briggs is going to take point on this position and here's where exfil's going to happen.
That would be cool, yeah.
Flesh out the strategy element more. If I'm going to be Commander Sam, then let me fucking be Commander Sam. Don't have me getting necessarily getting my hands muddy and bloody. or have a little bit of that, but like put the emphasis on like, okay, this is Sam, and he's putting himself back on the right track, whatever that may be, within the perspective of this game's morals. But like, and have him enforcing all this shit.
Speaking
and
of
the
that
player doing that.
Renegade arc, I really missed the like interactive interrogations.
Is that a thing from Conviction?
Yeah.
The toilet smashing stuff?
Yeah, break someone's face on a sink, crush someone's hands in a piano.
I remember hearing that they took torture scenes out of Blacklist because of public outcry, but I don't know exactly what the outcry was.
I think they were roughly Tomb Raider-esque in terms of just being uncomfortable to see.
Just unnecessarily brutal,
Like, it was
within
just
the context of the story.
Like, I would, like, look at them and go... And this was in my really, really edgy,
Conviction?
like, 17. I feel like I remember them being really fucking rough.
They were really bad. Like, put a guy's face in the first mission, put Coben's face in the urinal, and then stomp on his head to break the urinal.
Yeah, like, it was seriously uncomfortable. Like, it was...
I thought you were going to say curb stomp him. Like, I'm like, how does he have teeth in this game? That probably would have been...
Really good dental surgery.
He should have done that. You got to put his mouth on a piss-covered urinal. That would have been humiliating and life-ruining.
It was not a clean urinal either, if I remember
yeah,
right.
it was just like gross Italy urinal.
Yeah.
You know, Italians, they don't
Yeah,
clean
what
them.
does that mean, Crazy?
It took place in Italy.
It's a place in Italy. We have no clean urinals.
Alright, well... Ugh.
Yeah, Conviction was very brutal.
Very enjoyable, though.
It was a fun game. I might go back and play it. Honestly, like, Blacklist has not... this is my second time playing through the game, and I didn't hate it. It's a fun game, I guess.
I'd much rather play through Conviction again.
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at. Because, like, the Conviction ends on an ending
This one,
rather than this, where it's just like the last shot is of Sam, like, hugging Vic and going, Vic! And, like, that's it.
Harshly cuts away.
Yeah, like, is that meant to be my money shot? Is that meant to be, like, the whole crew's back together? Vic, from the first 10 minutes of the game.
Let's waterboard this guy together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bonding moment.
So, okay, let's quick talk about the penultimate sequence because I can't let this shit slide.
Oh, the dumb bullshit with the...
With Sadiq, the showdown in that open field.
Yeah.
Flank him.
It was
It's so
such a cool idea. Like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, okay, like, we're paring it down to the fundamentals of Splinter Cell. Like, get behind this guy and take him out, and you've got no tools. And I was having a lot of fun with it for the first 30 seconds. And then I pretty much nailed it on my first try.
Yep.
I get up to the minigame where the QTE, where you're struggling to get the gun up against his shoulder and shoot him. They did not fucking design this around mouse and keyboard.
No.
I'm literally picking up my mouse and swooping it.
Really?
I have to move it so far,
And my sensitivity is really high, and I had to do that too.
Really? Because I had the exact opposite thing.
Where it was too sensitive?
I literally just moved it to the left click.
I was trying so hard. I literally had to do like 3 full sweeps of my mouse pad to get it into position where I could shoot him. So I failed it the first time because I wasn't expecting that. I was just like kind of moving it normally, like you would in a fucking video game, as opposed to like, I don't know, trying to wipe dust off of your mouse, or off your mouse pad. So yeah, I failed it. Then I had to retry it. And
Does it start you at the QTE or do
Nope.
you have to?
No.
Oh wow.
Start-
no,
Very
it
beginning.
start at the beginning again.
That's boring.
It really is.
It was boring the first time, honestly.
It's a lot less interesting doing it the second time.
Like, honestly, this part is actually so fucking simple that even though it's been a couple of years since I last played this, or 4 now, because I played it on release, I still knew exactly what to do.
I had trouble with it
Yeah?
because he kept moving.
He moved?
he moves a lot, yeah. If you take any more than the minimum amount of time, he relocates.
Well, fast breath strikes again, I guess, because
Yeah.
I just basically took about 45 seconds.
Yeah, well, I on my second try, I ended up getting back right into the same position where I was. I basically did everything exactly the same because there's no variance to the
Yeah.
sequence. He even relocates between the same spots.
It depends on the angle.
Okay, well, if you do things the same way, he will always do things the same way. There's no randomization intrinsic to the encounter. Somehow he ended up seeing me doing the same thing another time. I guess I slightly mistimed or whatever. He pops me down. I end up having to do this sequence 4 times. And I did everything perfectly on the first time, so it's just like, come the fuck on. Like, why couldn't you have checkpointed me when I'm in the QTE? Especially when the windows are so small. So on my 3rd try, I ended up getting the gun in the position of shooting him, and then he stabs me because I missed the E button to flip the knife back around.
So
there were no QTEs of this nature anywhere leading up to this game.
yeah. So I had a really fun time with this because my keybinds started getting fucky. At least in the way the game interpreted them. Thankfully, I had some preparation because every time it said exercise the 5th freedom, it would just be like, press joy 1. And I'm like, is that E? And it was E.
Yeah.
So when it kept flashing, mash joy 1. And I'm like, I know what you mean, but I'm still pissed off.
Did you press F to pay respects?
When? Are you just making a Call of Duty joke?
It's
Or
just
is
a
there
lazy Call of Duty joke.
Okay, well,
It's great
no,
stuff.
I didn't. I pressed E to stab a man to death.
Or to
Basically
break a
the
dude's
same.
neck?
That's my morality binary. Pay respects or stab a man.
Yep.
Yeah, and then after all that trial and tribulation of dumb, tiny little things setting me back like 1 or 2 minutes over and over again, finally you get through that sequence, and the cutscene breaks.
Really?
I had, you know that loading screen that's just like green and gray blocks?
Yeah.
At first I thought it was intentional. I thought it was like a closing audio log or something because the cutscene was playing, but all that was on my screen was that green and gray block screen. So I was listening to like Briggs debriefing with Charlie and like taking his gun away and stuff, which like completely ruins the gag because I couldn't see him taking the gun away, so I didn't even know that happened. I saw the whole scene, or heard the whole scene, and then I was like, okay, there's really no video anywhere? Okay, I think this is busted. Look it up on YouTube, sure enough, I listened to the whole fucking cutscene. And then I watched it again with a little bit less impact.
And it was way funnier this time, right? Because you could see everything.
Uh-huh.
It was a really good joke and
great.
made you laugh, and it was a great capstone to the entire fucking game.
But, yeah, what the fuck happened?
Charlie
to the
never comes clean to Sam. Like, there's a bunch of things I wanted tied up.
Yeah,
It's
this,
all a sequel hook.
but
and
this game is 5 years old?
Yeah, and like the thing is, it's like, okay, well done. You've managed to establish like 4 characters over the course of an entire game to the point where they could actually interact with each other.
Yeah, this game is such a cliffhanger that it cuts out in the middle of what feels like should be like the first third of a post-credit sequence.
Yeah.
Like, when they're about to start interrogating Sadiq, it feels so jarring. It looks like they made a mistake.
Yeah, like it just sends you right back to the, like it sends you. This is the part that I probably hate the most in this game. It doesn't send you back to the main menu. It sends you back to the
SMI?
SMI.
What?
Like, and that is insane because it makes you think, okay,
There's more.
time to continue.
Mm-hmm.
No, the game is over, but it doesn't kick you back to the main menu. It just confuses you, and it puts this
Well, we
taste in
should
your
have called
mouth.
the daughter.
Does this game have a main menu?
No.
I don't think this game has a main menu.
No,
'cause
but
when you
it
load
should for
it
this
should,
exact reason.
or just like even fucking kick you back out of the game, like
So, like,
close that
yeah.
circle.
Yeah, make it like a Ganon ending, like in every Hyrule game, every Zelda game, basically. Like it just freezes on the credits screen and waits for you to close out.
Okay, yeah.
Like it's something like that. But as is, it is half-assed to begin with, and then the way it just kicks you back into the game, it amplifies that like 5-fold.
Yeah, their attempts to make all of the menu stuff feel rooted in the game world end up biting them in the ass multiple times, because then you've also got shit like, why am I in the SMI and able to pick side missions in between the part where the plane malfunctions and we literally just said, okay, now let's go to Denver? Like, I could literally fix the plane, have the whole team agree to go to Denver, and then spend 3 hours playing side missions. It feels extremely out of place.
Yeah, and the thing is, once you beat the game, and it'll be like, it shows you like the active campaign missions, it always shows side F. Like, it always shows that as, like, a thing you have yet to do.
Yeah,
Which is annoying.
it almost would have been better if they had just turned it into a normal video game menu after the fact, like when the game ended. Like, it's just weird. It just pulled me out of it.
Which is the exact opposite of what they intended to do, so...
Yeah.
Thanks, Ubisoft.
I mean, all in all, there are a lot of aspects of this game that I liked a lot. Like, it sounds like it didn't hold up for second playthrough for you, largely, Brett.
Well, that's the thing that irritates me. It did.
Okay.
But it pissed me off in the exact same ways, and that is so rare for me in games. Usually if I play through a game again, I find new things I like or new things I dislike. And then this one, it's like, I had the same exact experience. I liked the gameplay to an extent because it was easy. For me. Because I have the natural mindset of someone who is ready to kill people.
I guess so.
I don't know. It pissed me off in the same way. Like, that's why I was so, like, ambivalent in episode 1. Because I was just sitting here, like, it's all gonna go to shit. Like, none
really
of the
does.
stuff that you're bringing up is gonna matter.
Yeah, that Libya mission was really good.
Yeah.
Well, and like the basic premise is in a lot of ways really interesting. Like the premise of what the engineer or what the Blacklist is and why it exists is pretty compelling.
Yeah, it's interesting, but then they just kind of drop it, and then, like, obviously the reasons are still there, but they don't take center stage anymore, and now it's just like, they could be any terrorist organization after the halfway point of this game.
Yeah.
Did you notice that, like, okay, first mission, it's pretty, like, tight, there's not much choice. Then it opened up, and then it tightened up again, even tighter than the first mission.
Yeah, like Site F, there are very few ways to do that mission.
Yeah.
Like, I just, like, especially, like, I really enjoy the 2 vent openings that lead to the same vent, and then you just fall down in the same way.
Yeah. I kind of liked the overall sequence of going to the vents with the laser beams because it felt very over-the-top, cheesy spy movie kind of thing, which was fun for a minute, just to kind of give me something so overtly campy that it kind of just made me forget about all the stuff that was trying to be ostensibly real.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of dumb stuff like that, and like the one
You can't
nod
use EMPs.
on the lasers.
No.
Oh.
Like, if you try, it just pops up the message saying, like, these lasers are especially protected against EMPs.
These
And I'm
are
like,
presidential lasers.
yeah, we made the lasers
You're
in the
in a
vents
Faraday
much
cage?
stronger. Like, fuck off. Seriously?
Yeah, that's
I just
weird.
don't...
The one nod they give to the kind of open sandbox level design is that sequence where you're depositing Charlie's 3 viruses.
Yeah.
And then there's no checkpoint.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Also, they keep adding lasers to the doorways.
yeah, I get what they were going for with that sequence. Like, it's such a great idea. Like, I just can picture the level designers chatting about how they want this to go, of like, okay, you've got this sprawling space and a few objectives that you can do in whatever order you want, but the difficulty of the other objectives is contingent on the order you do the first ones in. And it could have been so cool, but the way they choose to, like, it's just like, okay, we barricaded off this area with lasers.
Yeah, and it was abysmal because, like, it just narrowed my options for no reason. It didn't make it harder. It just meant that I had less variety in the ways that I was going to fool these enemies. Because vents in this game are ridiculous. I timed them. It took them about 90 seconds to have a whole conversation about how I probably wasn't going to leave the vent in the same way that I came in. Like, that was actually the subject of the conversation. Like, I don't think he's coming out this way. We need to go spread out. And I was just sitting there, I'm just waiting. I'm like, and then I came out the exact same way I came in, stabbed them both in the back.
I'm totally coming out this way.
I'm totally coming out this way. Like,
Yeah, if they had come up with, and like, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but like if they had come up with obstacles that appeared as you complete the objectives that required
Extra cameras.
solutions, yeah, that required specific solutions to counteract, that would have been one thing. But like you said, Brett, they just reduce the amount of paths you have open. So it's like you're not doing anything different in the paths that are still open. Those are completely unchanged. It's just that now you have to pick that one.
You guys know about the laser panels, right?
The ones that shut off the laser beams?
Yeah.
I
What?
couldn't find any in that area.
There were ones in every room.
Okay.
Do you have to shoot them or something?
Yes.
Oh, I was trying to, like...
You were trying to interact.
Yeah,
Try to
and when-
execute the fifth freedom.
That's what it should say every time you're doing anything in this game.
Every button prompt is execute.
Walk up to a door, execute the fifth freedom.
Alright, can we talk about the fifth freedom?
Sure. The fifth freedom,
What the fuck?
if I recall correctly, the fifth freedom is to do what needs to be done in order to protect the United States.
Was this referenced at the beginning of this game or
No,
earlier?
this game does not reference it whatsoever. You're expected to know it from playing all the other games.
Really?
And I'm not even sure if I got the fifth freedom right.
Okay, like I got the gist of it, obviously, but like it felt like something they should have name dropped earlier in like a banal conversation on the Paladin.
Well, they kind of do. Like the president goes, "I didn't give you the fifth freedom to pursue a personal vendetta,"
Okay.
but it's in like the middle of this huge scene, and it comes off as such a minor thing.
Yeah.
But it's like the whole of which third and fourth echelon were created for.
Yeah, it should have been more like Briggs and Charlie talking, and Briggs is saying something to the effect of like, well, we have to be careful about how we exercise the fifth freedom, and Charlie's like, yeah, I mean, they didn't just give us free reign for blah blah blah. Like, find some way to piece it together so the game is actually conveying what it is to you instead of like barely interjecting it in the middle of this cutscene that has 5 other plot points.
Which is cool if you have context, but if you don't, it's just like,
I thought of a really tasteless fifth freedom joke.
go for
If
it.
like Sam is looking at a civilian's butt, Briggs or Charlie should just be like, "I'd like to execute the fifth freedom on that."
And then Grim just shuts down fourth echelon.
that would have been the binary domain Splinter Cell crossover game.
That would have made this game more enjoyable.
You want to execute the fifth freedom on that piece of ass? Guess that's why they call you the survivor.
You just walk up right behind her with like crouched down with her ass in your face, and you go, "Looking pretty sweet."
Big bow. Yeah, it's weird because they, like I said in the first episode, they do a really great job of elegantly introducing things that new players aren't going to be familiar with, but old players will, during the first half of the game. And they just increasingly stop giving a shit about that process.
I think you just hit the nail on the head. Like, that's...
They increasingly stop giving a shit.
Like, this game... It starts off with promise. Not necessarily strong, but it starts off making you think it might be going somewhere, and then...
Well, like I said, I do think the game doesn't start strong. It makes a bad first impression, but a great second impression. Like, a lot of the, like, mission 2 to 5 range, I think, is really good. And I was having a great time, and I was like, I should play more of these games. Like, this is a fun series. But, yeah, it just deteriorates so quickly, and, like, not
And it
to the...
deteriorates in every way.
Yeah.
Except the cool kind of, not really meta bits, but the cool weird shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's none of that in the first 5 missions or so.
Yeah, and it never got so bad that, like, overall I would say I liked the game. It's just that the bar of potential was so high and missed so hard that it's disappointing alongside being something that I'm happy I played through, even outside of the context of the podcast. Like, if I had bought this and played through it irrespective of the show, like, I still would have felt it was worth my time. It's just like it could have been a really standout game, and instead it's just like, yeah, you should play Splinter Cell.
It's the Metal Gear Solid 5 of Splinter Cell games.
I think I might have actually felt a little more positively about Blacklist's ending.
It's like the little cousin of Metal Gear Solid 5 in terms of, like, the way they mishandled stuff, I guess. Like, there's parallels to draw, but there's no way that anything... I don't think a game will disappoint me in that way again in my life.
Yeah, it's like the difference between your fairly bright cousin messing up and, like, I don't know, your much smarter cousin fucking up. I don't know. That wasn't a great metaphor.
Jalapenos are spicy, but MGS5 is a ghost pepper.
Yeah, basically. Still played it for 100 hours, so I don't know if I can talk too much shit.
Like 200. I love the game. I'm just sad about the ending.
Yeah.
It didn't ruin the game for me.
Speaking of sad about endings.
Yeah, Brett. Let her rip.
Oh, did you?
So,
Did you guys enjoy the last episode of Shareware?
Yeah, so this is regrettably the final episode of Shareware. Actually, it's kind of poignant because as of last Tuesday, I checked, we've reached our 1-year anniversary. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, this is the perfect time for us to call it in.
Shout out to the guy who just mentioned us on Twitter and got 4 likes on his comment, which is more than we've ever gotten.
Yeah.
Candle that burns twice as bright lasts
Half as
a
long.
little bit as long as you'd expect.
I don't know where you're going with this, Brett. So I'm just gonna take over. It's been fun. We're gonna keep the show up on YouTube, but the SoundCloud subscription is going to lapse soon. So only this episode that you're listening to now is going to be on SoundCloud long term, or until SoundCloud goes bankrupt, because it sounds like they're always like on the verge of that.
Yeah, without us paying.
Yeah, without all the big ad revenue we're bringing in, it's not gonna last.
We paid $120 for the.
Yeah. But thanks a lot to Philip, Emma, Moyes, Hunt, Greg, Brent, and of course Jordan, who helped us make the show. And thank you a lot to all the listeners, especially people who wrote in over the year. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was a good time. I will kind of be revamping my stream, so that'll be fun. I don't know. I do a lot of weird streams. Sometimes I'm really energetic. Like, sometimes I'll be really energetic. Sometimes I'll be, like, I'll be doing my ASMR voice, where I just look at everything that's happening in the game, and I just kind of say things about what I feel about them. And those always get, like, 10 times the views, so I should just do that all the time. But.
As for Shareware, we still have the Europa Universalis stream coming on the day that this episode comes out. What time are we starting again?
1 o'clock on Sunday.
Central Standard Time. So yeah, it'll come out. This episode will probably come out at a point where it's actually impossible for you to hear this by the time the stream is going. But there'll still be the backlog.
But if Josh turns out to like Europa Universalis.
Yeah,
we might even stream more. Who knows?
Yeah, and Jordan has some ideas of maybe doing some stuff in the future. But as for the core show, it's time to sunset it.
So
like
Splinter Cell Blacklist is going to be our swan song.
Not how I would have envisioned it, but you don't always have full control over all this stuff. So
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. This has been Josh,
Grayson,
and Brett.
Have a good one.
Yeah.
Brett, are you taking the hardware right back, or do you mind if I keep it for the weekend so we can still do the Europa stream?
What do you mean hardware?
The mic and camera.
Well, I'm just letting you guys have that.
Oh, I thought you wanted the mic.
I mean, but I'm not going to kill the podcast just because I'm leaving.
No, the podcast is done.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
At least until Jordan is available on the regular.
We'd probably just do something else. I don't think we would return to the Shareware name at that point.
Oh, man. I didn't know it was the end of Shareware completely.
So, does that change your response? If you want it back right away, I understand.
Yeah, in that case, I would like the mic so I can kind of keep it for my streaming.
Yeah, no. You're going to keep it either way. I mean, that was the arrangement from the beginning. I just meant, could I keep it throughout the weekend to do the Europa stuff?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because we've already announced it. Otherwise, I would have just called it off, but we've, publicized that we're doing it. So, I wouldn't want
Yeah, no, that's totally fine.
Okay. Sounds good.
Hey, don't let me forget Mario 3D World. when I drop you off.
It is
in there right
in
now,
there.
but the
cool.
case is probably in your basement.
Yeah, you should have just told me.
I
Well said.
didn't
Just
remember. Until I saw
I'll
it.
send you a WhatsApp message. Just don't check your notifications during the show, and then it'll still be there at the end, and you'll be like, oh, okay.
Mario.
It'd be nice if you could send scheduled WhatsApp messages.
You can do that
that'd
with
be cool.
texts. That's the best way I've ever called in sick to play Metal Gear Solid 5.
How do you do
Nice.
that with texts? Is that an OS level
It might
thing?
be an Android thing. Like, I set a text to send at like 7:14,
Okay.
so
yeah.
that it wouldn't look like I was up at 1 a.m. playing Metal Gear.
Oh.
That's a
pretty clever.
Good plan.
What I did is I just got way too stoned the night Metal Gear came out because Mike gave me some really potent shit. And so I was at work and I was too high to work, so I got to go home early and try to play Metal Gear. But then my computer broke for like 5 hours.
Yeah,
Ugh.
I remember
That's bad.
the drivers.
It was
Aaron complained about that update too.
it was really upsetting to me. Like I'm sitting there, like as soon as the game finally got down, like I'm gonna smoke this whole bowl and I'm gonna experience Metal Gear, and then everything started fucking up.
Yep.
And that's like the worst time to possibly double shoot.
And it was like
Troubleshooting is just not
It was like-
in your skill set at that moment.
No, I'm just
BIOS
sitting there.
level fuck ups, right?
Huh?
It was like BIOS level fuck ups.
It was really bad. I couldn't do anything because I was too fucking retarded. So I just kept pressing the power button. I kept turning it on and off again until it worked.
I mean, if you're gonna do one thing over and over again while you're high trying to fix your computer, you picked the right one.
Yeah, I mean it worked eventually.
Yeah, like that is the cornerstone of IT. So
It's true.
you weren't that retarded.
That's true.
Only just retarded enough.
I made the retarded mistakes earlier in life.
Don't we all?
Oh yeah, so there's a new position that opened up at Grayson's Wells Fargo.
It might not even be in the same like building.
No, it's in the same.
No,
or
like
you
we
mean like?
control all but one corner of the building, but
Right.
they're separated by like cement walls.
Yeah, that's fine. I can walk that far. But it's loan servicing officer or something 4.
Specialist, not
Specialist,
officer.
yeah.
Officer requires like a credential.
I'm gonna call myself an officer though.
Credenza.
Yeah. You get a
Like,
make a
if I
little
get the
paper
job?
badge that you tape to your chest.
Like the thing is though, like the requirements are 1 year of customer service. I have like 3,
Yeah.
and it's 3 pay scales above Grayson.
No, about
Which is-
loan servicing specialist.
Yes, okay. I'm assuming that the difference between the 2 departments is a matter of like $5,000.
No, not even close.
Really?
I make more than the work directors in operations. So, ops processor 4 makes less than $15 an hour.
Brett, Grayson is not merely hot shit. He is molten shit in the Wells Fargo hierarchy.
Well, I guess I'm gonna go for the QA one then.
I mean, go ahead.
Well,
Well, it's already in there. Like if it's off the thing, and they haven't emailed me, am I fucked or? are they
So,
waiting?
no, once you apply, you can't see it anymore. You have to go to the top of the screen and click My Activities after logging in, and you'll see whether it's in review, screening, interview, or...
Okay, so if it just says applied, they haven't looked at it yet.
Right. Screening is where it's
Okay.
like they're starting to call people. So look at your email.
Alright, that all sounds well and good. You know, good luck with finding a satisfactory career and changing your life. I'm here to talk about some real aspirations.
Oh, okay.
Some heavy shit.
All right.
So I've had on my mind lately trying to craft the ultimate brie-based grilled cheese,
Ooh.
and I'm trying to gauge what
Is brie a cheese or bread?
Brie is a soft white cheese.
Brie is cheese. Brie is the big disc that has the hard wax shell, and you cut into it, and it's just kind of goo when it pours out.
Oh, right. I remember that. We had that on Extra Life. It was okay.
Yeah, brie is a divisive one. It's definitely not for
It
everyone.
needs to be warm for sure.
I'm a fan. Well, that's where I'm thinking grilled cheese could be an interesting format.
So
for it.
here's my thoughts. You go to the grocer, you buy 2 of those canned pizza doughs, like the Pillsbury pizza doughs.
Okay. What is
And-
the bread base of that? Like, what would you categorize that
I
as?
don't know, dough.
Goop.
Okay.
And then you wrap
Bread
that around a
material.
de-waxed brie,
Okay.
and then you bake it like that.
Like a Hot Pocket kind of situation? Almost?
Yeah, but it's just full of cheese.
Okay, now here's what you do. You get a container of nacho cheese. You put it on the bread. you're done.
I had to check
Peel
whether you
off
had
the
a
wax
stove.
and pour on the nacho cheese and let it sit overnight so it gets that nice film.
Yeah.
And then you've got a cheese disc that's wrapped in a grosser cheese.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I had to check whether you had a stove because I realized that would not be a deal breaker for you in choice of living space.
Are there apartments that don't have stoves?
They're called dorm rooms.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
Were you going to live in a dorm room?
You kind of have to go to school to live in a dorm room, with a few exceptions here and there.
They might just throw in a hot plate if they didn't have a stove.
Yeah, I've got like a fucking Sbarro heat lamp sitting over my dining room table.
You just have one of those, the pizza cookers, but you put like a cardboard box over it.
Oh,
A pizzazz.
A pizzazz, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's available on Amazon now, 2-hour delivery.
It's really just an oven in circular form.
If your pizzazz breaks and you need another within 2 hours, they'll set you up.
Yeah, that would be quite the pickle. If you had this 2-hour time frame where you had to have a pizza done, specifically with the pizzazz, because an oven just won't do it.
I feel like you could just go to a store and get one, though.
A pizzazz or...
A pizzazz.
But then you'd have to leave the house, which...
Yeah, but
If you're on house arrest,
Okay.
and you need a home-cooked pizza,
Right.
and it has to be within 2 hours, and you don't have an oven, or you're racist against ovens or something like that,
Okay.
then Amazon Prime is the service for you.
That's the market for Amazon Prime now, is white-collar criminals under house arrest.
Who need a pizzazz?
They should honestly play that up more, because I feel like that would actually work out pretty well for them, leveraging that niche.
Well, I feel like they're already cons, They're used to kind of
they're
sifting through the system.
White-collar criminals.
Exactly, they're cons, man. They look at the system and they see how they can break it. I feel like they're already looking at
I mean,
Amazon
you can get
Prime. It would be
booze
wasted
delivered.
advertising dollars.
And I think now that alcohol's deliverable on Sundays, they'll be allowed to, merge those two stores.
Yeah, that hasn't started yet, though.
No, July.
Man, I really feel for the liquor store proprietors there. They just lost their one guaranteed day off a week.
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, it's okay, theoretically, 1/7 increase in profits. On the other hand, I have to imagine there's a not insignificant number of people who specifically got into the liquor store business because they're like, okay, this is going to be hard work, I'm going to have to do all this managing, there's going to be a lot of dimensions to this job, but I always get Sundays off.
Yeah.
And now you can't do that, because you're just before it was never a value proposition, because I fucking can't do anything on Sunday, so there's not that.
It doesn't enter into your mind.
Yeah, now you have to have that internal dichotomy of I want Sunday off, but I'm also tangibly turning down profits.
Yeah, and the thing is, one of the big arguments is well, separation between church and state, man, that law was made back in a time where we were all super Christian. That doesn't make it a bad law.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's, you want to evaluate on the merit of the law itself, but even still under that mindset, what other businesses are closed on Sundays, and
Car salesmen.
What is a good logical reason to have them closed on Sundays?
Because it's nice.
Yeah, but it's then it just comes back around to, well, don't do it if you don't want to. At a certain point, it makes more sense from a legal mindset to just give everyone as many options as possible, as long as they're not infringing on the rights of anyone else.
Yeah, but then that's when you end up in loss leader shit, and that's how you have, everything being bad everywhere, like it is now.
So back to the point at hand, I was thinking about going with a sourdough.
Yeah.
Is that a complimentary bread? Because I'm actually having a hard time finding
Brie
cheese.
goes best with French, baguette-style breads.
Okay.
What if you wrapped it in crescent rolls?
What is with you and rolls? You want everything to be
If you
I
want
know
rolls,
you're
I got
not-
enough right here.
You're not really up for, making your own bread
I'm
dough.
not gonna bake bread no matter what. I would go to there's a bread store on
But no, it has to
Snelling.
be raw. Wait, could the Brie handle 30 minutes at a 400-degree oven?
Wait.
30 minutes to make a grilled cheese?
Wait, remember when this was a fucking grilled cheese, Grayson, before you started talking about pizza dough and crescent rolls? When's the last time you had a crescent roll-based grilled cheese?
What are you trying to make?
I'm just trying to like wrap brie in bread and then.
That's like good for you, man. Do whatever you want in the privacy of your own home. That is not my thing. I never entered that into the equation. It sounds like you're trying to get some kind of like weird cheese breeding thing going on, where you got this womb of cheese and bread.
I think if you went with the sourdough, it'd be all right. You want to get some Granny Smith apple slices up there on top.
Well, here's what I was thinking. I wanted a fruit dimension. Brett is looking around as if he's been deeply
Granny Smith
disturbed.
apples go really good with
This
brie.
is what you do. You want to make a grilled cheese sandwich. Butter on 2 pieces of bread. You cook the meat if you're gonna have meat in there. I like having meat in my
Brett,
sandwiches.
if you put anything but cheese on it, it's a melt.
I understand. Okay, we don't.
My God,
we don't
Gracie,
need
you're
to
on
get,
such thin ice.
we don't need to get into that dumb bullshit because it doesn't actually matter. I'm not.
Is a hot dog a sandwich? Not if it's got cheese and meat and it's a melt.
But I see where you're taking this argument, and that's fair. But the thing you're missing, as somebody who's not into brie, and that's fair, it's not within your wheelhouse. Brie is a fruit cheese, whereas a cheddar is a meat cheese. Specifically, brie complements fruits very well.
What is American cheese? Is it meat cheese or fruit cheese or just a bad cheese?
It's called chemicals.
Yeah,
Is it just a bad cheese?
It's a blend of Colby, Swiss, and cheddar.
It's kind of
Really?
That's actually
Maybe not Swiss. Colby, Monterey, and cheddar.
That's actually a lot more impressive than I thought American cheese was.
Like real American
They
cheese.
found a way to make something that should ostensibly be good, really not good.
I don't know. Like I get when it comes to like, it has to be a certain kind of thing. When it comes to hot dogs, I do not want to use actual cheese. If I want to put cheese on my hot dog, I use American cheese then. Because it's more gooey.
The form factor is a nice thing as well.
I like shredded cheddar on a hot dog.
I have put cheddar on my hot dogs. Maybe it's the kind of cheddar I use. It's always these very thin slices, and I just kind of drape them over. Get the I get it all covered. Equally. The distribution is equal, but it just doesn't taste as good to me as an American cheese hot dog. Throw some ketchup on there. It's basically just a sauce conveyor.
Try the shredded taco cheese blend.
Ooh. That does sound really good.
Yeah, depending
Yeah,
on how
chili.
if we're getting into chili dogs, depending on how you spice your chili, you could kind of lean into the Tex-Mex angle and go for like a Mexican chili dog, like hot little jalapeno cubed up in there.
I have been wanting to just buy a jalapeno or two for my personal use for so long.
For my personal use, we're not gonna get into that.
I mean, for that, and then when I'm done for cooking,
Yeah. Brett's entire cookbook catalog is all just cooking with semen.
it's all just like, I got cucumbers, I got jalapenos.
A good carrot will do if you're in a pinch, or if you want to be in a pinch.
Trying to think of other phallic vegetables.
Zucchini.
I mean,
Oh, Grayson has me beat on knowledge of phallic vegetables. So I
well,
should've
we didn't
known.
doubt that for a minute. I mean,
I know all the phallic vegetables. Eggplants.
Grayson is the phallic vegetable.
Eggplants aren't they like this?
And use
Like
the
a gourd?
eggplants emoji on WhatsApp.
Yeah, like the cartoon eggplant, like the Courage the Cowardly Dog eggplant is round at the bottom, like kind of pear-shaped sort of thing. But you can definitely get an eggplant that has the form factor of a zucchini.
Okay, so you can put an eggplant in your butt.
Oh, totally. I mean, even if you were going for the pear-shaped eggplant, like you could put that in your butt because then you just got a butt plug situation. Like you want it wider at the base.
It's kind of like having an extra butt, if you think about it.
Sure.
Like you could sit on that.
Suddenly you're getting into like vegetable cosplay fet life.
Just like
I don't know where we're going anymore.
I don't know where we're starting.
Every
at this
day
point.
we get further from God's grace.
Yeah. We should probably start a podcast.
What do you mean start the podcast?
We should probably-
This is the last
We should
episode.
probably end a podcast.
This is how we start Hi everyone. Welcome to the final episode of Shareware.
I mean, I would, but we have to listen to the test.
Oh right.
But save that gusto.
This is what vaping is.
All right.
Yeah, you just put your mouth over that and you just suck.
Vape Nation.
Whenever you're ready, Brett.
Should I just say the final episode of Shareware?
Nah.
No, I kind of wanted to leave that for the end.
That's kind of... I feel like we gotta let them know, though.
Do we, though?
No.
Do we?
It's gotta be an emotional tour de force.
Wouldn't it be more emotional if it was a gut punch?
At the end, just like, we're done now.
I think you're starting to understand Yoko Taro.
No, I said a gut punch, not a slow twisting of a pencil in your side for 45 minutes.
I was thinking twisting of the nipple.
I mean, I'm sure there's a side quest that does that too. It's probably to get to the fishing line. Or
Before we start, I'd like to ask you, Josh, did you play Nier Automata?
No,
He
Brett
just got it.
Okay.
Brett's had my PS4.
Did you notice the dynamic drying system?
Drawing system?
Drying.
Oh.
When that butt gets wet, it dries in real time.
I've seen
I
or heard of that.
This
I
is
actually watched
weird.
the GIF.
It's a GIF.
I assume that by now. It's become so expected for me that characters will automatically dry.
Yeah, I mean, that actually did take off pretty heavily in the last, 5 years. I feel like Uncharted was one of the first ones to really do... the first Uncharted, didn't that have, real-time drying of clothes?
Either one or two.
Yeah. I think it was one, because I seem to remember, there's that sequence when... Well, you didn't play one, did you?
No, I didn't even watch the Let's Play of it.
Okay, well, there's a part where you're, exploring this Nazi submarine that crashed on the island. And you have to swim to it, and I'm pretty sure... That is one of the first parts where it showcases.
Yeah, if you use the six axis to dry off your clothes.
Yeah. All right.
It's so hard to start it.
Stupid. I believe in you.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't want to do it, I can do it.
I'll do it.
Okay. Well,
I'll do it.
shut your fucking mouth and open your fucking mouth.